So we have four excellent scholars of the internet, scholars of information, that are going to be presenting for us today, giving some brief remarks about the role of the internet in our lives, the importance of ensuring that the web and the internet survive in a way that we feel would be most beneficial for society, for culture, for the entire globe. We're going to have a diverse set of ideas and a diverse set of topics from a diverse set of people, and we're really lucky to have our speakers today to join us. So first I want to introduce and welcome to the podium Dr. Johannes Britz, who is a professor and dean of the School of Information Studies. Dean Britz is an expert in global information ethics and issues of the information society across the globe, and especially in the African continent. And today he's going to be talking to us about global information ethics in general, and how it's going to be vital for us in thinking about the web and the internet moving in the future, that we think about ethical issues and we think about them globally. So please join me in welcoming Dean Johannes Britz.
Thank you very much, Michael. And I think nobody thanked you, but I want to thank you for coming up with the ideas. It's wonderful to have you. Michael has a marketing background as well, and we didn't know that, but now we do realize that, Michael. So next time you're not going to teach ethics, but information marketing. My talk will just be a little bit on what's happening in the globe. A few comments. We have a one web day, but in many places of the world there's a no web day. Because we take many things for granted here in America. I'm originally from Africa, the African continent. And I think the best opportunity for people in the United States for your cultural and social and economic activities is most probably the internet. Online banking, online buying, Facebook, MySpace, etc. So arguably we are all connected to the internet for our activities. We are much more informed than ever before. If you go for surgery, you can just check on the doctor online to see his record or her record, and you can read about the surgery. So when you go in actually to the hospital, you're much more informed than you previously had the opportunity to. So yes, it's the best opportunities for everybody, but I don't think it's equal opportunities. And that is the ethical issue. Because 80% of the world's population cannot celebrate a one web day, simply because they don't have access or regular access to the internet as we have. I have a few reasons. The one is one question, or one of the ethical issues, the question, how old are you? I just read yesterday the latest Wired magazine that a long article on age and the internet, and Silicon Valley apparently listen to people younger than 30 because they can adapt to change much easier than an older generation. And I can tell you, as you know, it's iPod, iTouch, everything I. And if you're not part of that generation, you cannot maximize the use of the internet. And there's sort of a divide within a divide. So that's the first ethical issue that brings this, or build this bridge even further, is age, I think. Second one, what's your zip code? In our online activities, we take many times just for granted that you go online and you have your American credit card and your zip code 53211 or whatever. You go to Amazon and you take it for granted that you can have either free shipping the next morning, or 2-day shipping, or the general, like average 4 or 5, 9 business days, depending on what you want to pay, but it's normally delivered right at your front door. But many people live outside of the US, and many people live outside of a zip code zone where there is no Amazon. You can access Amazon, but you cannot have it delivered to your front door. Just this morning again, I got an email from my colleague in South Africa asking me if I received the package sent to me in my home address for things I have to take to his place in South Africa, because Amazon simply do not deliver to your home address. You cannot use Priceline. If you want a cheap hotel accommodation, you can go on Priceline, but if you are living outside of the US, you're excluded. You cannot really buy your online airline tickets if you live in Africa, because in many cases you need an American credit card and an American address. And if you want to download audiobooks and you don't live in Europe, you can't really access it. So there's this digital wall based on your zip code. The other one is, where are you born? So it's not how old are you, what is your zip code, it's also where are you born. Traveling with the USA passport is very easy, and you can really maximize the opportunities on the internet. And my one colleague who must now go to Moscow, he travels with a US passport, Jacques, and he said, do you know what I have to get? All the paperwork, I must drive down to Chicago, I must apply for my passport, my visa. I said, that's nothing new to anybody that lives in Africa. Because if you live in any country in Africa, you just cannot get on an aeroplane and fly to the US or any place in Europe. You need a visa. So for example, if it's online offer like $2.99 return flight to Paris, but you must buy today and you have to fly this weekend, no African without a visa to Europe can make use of that opportunity. Because what you need is a letter from your employer, a bank statement, pictures. You have to go in person to the embassy. You have to take another $100 or 100 euros with you. You have to wait 2 weeks. You have to provide them with the hotel booking, or if you go to stay with someone, you have to provide all the details of the person plus a letter of invitation plus the original envelope. You must provide your airline ticket and you must make an appointment. It's not just going like people benefiting from the first world. There's a huge discrimination against people from the third world in terms of access to the benefits of the internet. And lastly, what do you pay? Sometimes we complain if you pay $45 a month for your internet, or 36 or 19 depending on your plan you have. If you live in Africa, you are lucky if you have internet in your home at all. Mostly it's dial-up, and then you pay the equivalent more or less of $400 per month, equivalent in terms of your income, and then you wait like 30-40 minutes just to access because it's dial-up. And only 0.7% of people in South Africa have access to broadband, and it's mostly businesses. So we take for granted broadband access and relative cheap access. 90% of people in sub-Saharan Africa who have cell phones have prepaid cell phones, and most of them use it not to call but to be called because it is so expensive. If you live here and you have Vonage, for example, and you make a call to Pretoria in South Africa, it's cheaper per minute to call Pretoria than it is per minute to call your neighbor in Pretoria if you're in Pretoria. And just I remember my one colleague who came from Africa who stayed in the Astor Hotel. We had a conference and his comments was, wow, what a wonderful place. I can just sit in the lobby and I can access internet wireless. The same hotel, another colleague, I think from Michigan, she said, it's an okay hotel, but the internet is so slow. Same thing, just different experiences. So I think, yes, it's a wonderful opportunity, but it's not an opportunity that is equal for everyone. Thanks, Michael.